This Shabbos, the Shabbos after Tisha B'Av, is referred to as Shabbos Nachamu, the Shabbos of comfort. We mourned on Tisha B'Av the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, of the temple, and now we're moving into a period of Nechama, a period of comfort. And although comfort, Nechama, following a period of mourning, is not something that's unusual, when we think about it in the context of the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, I think it is a bit unusual. Because normally when a person goes through a period of mourning, after, God forbid, they lose a loved one, that intense pain, that intense sorrow that they feel after they lose their loved one, over time, has a way of turning into comfort. They allow themselves to be comforted. They've gotten used to the idea. They now have to learn how to continue on in their lives to get back into the rest of society after dealing with the loss of the loved one, and learning to deal with that sadness and learning to go back to focusing on their regular everyday life is that period of mourning. But when it comes to the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, is it merely the passage of time that allows us to now be comforted? Is it merely the passage of time that allows us to move from the stage of mourning into the stage of comfort? The destruction of the Beis Hamikdash happened so long ago. And if it's the passage of time that allows us to go from a period of mourning into a period of comfort, well, every year we do the same thing. How could it be that every year we go from a period of mourning into a period of comfort, but then back into a period of mourning the very next year? And I think this really highlights the fact that the mourning that we do on Tisha B'Av is really something very different than a normal period of mourning, for example, for the loss of a loved one. And therefore, the period of comfort is something that's different as well. When we mourn on Tisha B'Av, it's not that intense sadness of a loss of a loved one that we've just experienced. Because unfortunately, for all of us living today, we never knew the temple. And therefore, as much as we try to feel the loss of the Beis Hamikdash, it's something that's not really gonna happen naturally for most of us. It's something that we have to work on, and we have to appreciate the fact that we're missing the Beis Hamikdash. But it's not that natural feeling of loss, natural feeling like we're missing out on something that we have. We lost something that was so dear for us. Maybe for some people it is like that. But I think for most of us, the period of mourning on Tisha B'Av is something merely that our sages instituted. They said that you should go through this period of mourning. You should you should instill in yourselves a feeling of sadness and a feeling of mourning, to remind us that we need the Beis Hamikdash. We need more in our lives. We need Hashem more in our lives than we already have. It's not something that happens naturally, and the laws of mourning are there to help us navigate. It's instead something that our sages said, we want you to try to instill in yourself this feeling of sadness and this feeling of mourning. Because if you can do that, if you can feel like you're missing something, then you're going to try to fix it. If you can feel like you're missing something, you're going to try to change the situation that they're in. If that's the feeling of mourning, then I think the feeling of comfort follows immediately after that. You see, because there's two reasons why a person could no longer feel the mourning that they felt before. One, as we mentioned before, is the passage of time. As life goes on, we move on. We're able to not forget our loved ones, but we're able to deal with the sorrow and go on with the rest of our lives. But there's another reason why we would stop mourning. Imagine if a person lost a large sum of money. They're very, very sad. But if they figured out how to get it back, now they're not sad anymore. Because the loss that they had, they're already working on fixing it. They're already working on making it up. And that's our job on Tisha B'Av, to motivate ourselves to figure out ways that we can overcome this loss, that we can get rid of this loss, that we can rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. And that's what Shabbos Nachamu is about. Shabbos Nachamu, the Shabbos of comfort, is that after we've experienced a Tisha B'Av, after we've been inspired and motivated to change the situation we're in, that should give us comfort. So let the comfort of this Shabbos Nachamu be that we've figured out a way that we can change the situation that we're in, and not just the fact that we forgot about it. Have a great, great Shabbos.